So, continuing a little bit on this subject of learning, and we have coaches that have gone through, say, the 2.0, or they've been coaching for a while, or they've come back in to refresh CCEs. And when people get to that point, sometimes I get asked that question of, so, all right, I'm not an expert. And even though a coach isn't an expert, what other training or learning subjects do you think, John, could help a coach?
I have a theory that I think really helps is people who also have something athletic or something that they push themselves physically. Like it could be anything, like even playing a piano or like a musical instrument, or if there's something that you're pushing yourself or pushing like physical boundaries. Uh, I think there's a lot of value. I mean, it could be writing a book. I mean, it could be, but anything that you're doing that's like pushing your boundaries, pushing your stamina, pushing yourself in that space, like even a hobby, but something like that you can apply all the learning that you're doing with coaching. I think that would be the space that I would look to first. And when if you cultivate that space, then you have a container to use your life like like experimental grounds to try out all these ideas you're getting. So now you have a container. Once you have a container, then you can start to ask questions. If I'm trying to accomplish this goal, what's the skill that I need, or what's the thing that I need to in order to accomplish that? Now you have a how do I say it? Like you have an engine that gives you answers of next steps. And this idea mimics Laura Whitworth's and Rick Tamlin's bigger game concept, where leaders don't pick the projects. I mean, eventually they do, but it's not like you gain all these leadership skills, and then you go out and lead people to some place. It's I mean, their concept was you start playing a bigger game, and the quality of your leadership depends on the quality of the game you pick. So if you want to do something, like for me, it was, okay, let's roll our sleeves up and let's change education. Let's bring more empathy, kindness, and empowerment to education. What do I need in order to do that? You see that's how the question works.
Yeah.
That's how this works. So to say there's only one, like any one program, any one thing, no, that maybe NLP. I found
Mhm.
NLP to be really useful, but there's so many things out there. Uh, the thing I found the most useful is having that mission in place and developing an empathetic sense of motivation. It makes it not about you. It makes you anti-fragile. It makes you take bigger risks. It makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do because you're doing it for the sake of a larger mission and vision and goal. And that larger mission and vision and goal also gives a sense of clarity about purpose and all those good things. So it's why, yeah. I mean, so I think hope that answers it, Raj. I'm curious your
Yeah.
thoughts on that too.
And it's really valuable, John. As you were sharing that, it also made me think about, that work that I've done on myself, even at a time I wouldn't have realized how much it's helped my coaching. And for me, it was becoming more spiritual, mindfulness, meditation, spiritual practices. If someone had probably told me like 10 odd years ago how much that would be helping my executive coaching, it was opposed at that time, probably when I was looking at it. How would that learning and that understanding and that work on myself, I mean, it's all kinds of things, Reiki and crystals and energy vibrations. And that can, as I said, that can be kind of opposed to that strategic world that I'm in. But it's taken my coaching to another level because actually people are so open to it. I am often asked, even at the beginning of a corporate meeting, to just ground people or use that, or me connecting with my own body and listening to my body and all the breathing. It actually helps me hear stress in the leaders that I coach and
Absolutely.
fears and things like that. And I would never have thought that, as I said, 10 odd years ago when I was getting into it.
Exactly. I mean, what if 300 years ago there was no concept of, or was there a concept of electricity? You know what I mean? Like we didn't have the same concepts of electricity and 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have Wi-Fi. And then now we have all these things. What if, 100 years from now, they realize, you know what? There's mental, emotional energy. And you can feel that between people. You can
Yeah.
now, we have a tool that measures it. Oh, the mirror neurons in your brain. Oh, guess what? Those are actually real and firing. So when you do the meditation, when you do the grounding spiritual work, you're actually building your capacity to become more aware of your mirror neurons. And we can test it now. They might be able to
It's so
test
cool.
it. It could happen. And it's silly to think, like that, just because we don't know it yet doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Look at, James Webb Telescope is breaking physics by the minute. And, they're throwing particles together in these particle accelerators. They're also breaking, quantum physics makes no sense. What if all of a sudden there's a whole other energy field that we're not even aware of? And, 30 years from now, they think, oh, we found it. This is the reason why dark matter exists. And this is what it means. Oh my goodness. Can now go back in time. Who knows? The world is weird.
But it's interesting, isn't it, how you can make those connections? And I think for me, it has opened up my curiosity. It's opened up how I ask questions. I like listening to what you're saying. And often I might listen to you, or I might listen to another thought leader. And then I'm like, I want to go away and research that. And then I start reading it and I research it. And then I ask myself questions, and it enhances my ability to be curious and ask those different kinds of questions, because it opens your mind up, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think when you start to use these things, and you have a physical, or some practice that it has a physicality to it, then you can start to ask yourself, okay, so if I do this grounding work, this is then like you have a very sensitive instrument to measure the benefit of it. For instance, like, so mountain biking, I have a mountain biking coach. I work with maybe once or twice a season, tune things up, make sure I'm staying safe, things like that. And we're doing a couple of gap jumps and drops, which are fairly significant types of things. And we talk about it. He's like, what? Bring your energy level down. Bring calmness. Like, where you at? Like, you feel your heartbeat raising. You're like, yeah, I'm about to like do that. I'm about to whiz down. Have to catch air, because if you break, no good. So there's some things where you have to find and really get in touch with different aspects of self. I cannot emphasize enough the value of that container for being able to have a sensitivity, an inner sensitivity to these ideas, and then you figure out really quickly what's working, not working, and then you can apply it to your business world. You can apply it to your personal world. You can apply it to all these other worlds too. And so that, just going back to that question you asked me, I feel like the physicality is very, very important.
Thank you, John. We're on time.
Yeah.
I know we were getting into this. We could probably chat all afternoon.
This is fun. Thank you, Raj. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for queuing up these questions. It really is a treat. And I feel like I'm looking forward to doing the in-person leadership thing. I have notes on it. I've talked to other coaches on it. I have plans for it. There are a couple people I'm thinking of flying in to help me facilitate it. It's going to be super cool. I just got to get the little one to not be so little. That's one, and then two. Pandemic was weird, and we're getting out of it. So here we are.
Exciting stuff. Thank you, John.